Hello and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Rant. It's time for me to go over Raw from April 7th, 2014. The show took place in New Orleans, Louisiana, just the same as WrestleMania last night, although I think it was a different arena because it didn't look anywhere near as big and I don't think there were anywhere near as many people. But anyways, the show starts off by showing the Daniel Bryan video package, the same one that they showed last night, spanning, him all the way from Shawn Michaels' school, everything, his entire WWE career. And so, but it ends, they added a new little bit, that it ends showing him celebrating with both belts after the match last night. So, okay, great. We cut into the arena where Justin Roberts introduces Daniel Bryan as the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And of course, Bryan comes out. And there is a huge Daniel Bryan chant. And they keep going and going and going with this. And Bryan he's got a microphone, he's in the ring, he's getting ready to talk, and he keeps going to do it, but the crowd is so loud, he just can't say anything, Finally, he starts talking, and, of course he thanks the crowd and all the people in the universe, and then the crowd starts chanting, "You deserve it." Yes. Yes, he fucking does deserve it. And I think Bryan talked a little bit more, but he's basically interrupted, of course, by Triple H and Stephanie, who come out. And the two of them get on the apron on the side of the ring over by the ramp, of course. And the crowd starts chanting, "Asshole." Yeah. This crowd was great all night, pretty much. But anyways, Triple H has a mic, and he says he doesn't want to get in the ring because he doesn't want to do anything to Daniel Bryan just yet. And that being said, Bryan's like, "Oh, really?" And Bryan was wearing the world title around his waist and carrying the WWE belt. He takes the world title off and he holds both of them up. He gets right in Triple H's face and he's doing the yes, holding up both belts and, just trying to rub it in. But Triple H continues to say that Bryan is going to defend the title tonight against Triple H. So he's thinking he's going to end shit before it even really starts and all this other shit. Him and Stephanie leave, and of course there's another big yes, yes chant. I'm thinking like, stupid, you couldn't beat him last night to stop him from getting into the triple threat match. And even trying to hit him with the sledgehammer, you couldn't prevent him from winning the triple threat match. So what makes you think you're going to be able to beat him 24 hours removed? But it doesn't really matter. That's the end of that segment. And they hype up a segment titled Streak Conquered. Of course, it's referencing Brock beating The Undertaker. And that's going to be a little later on. And they cut to a commercial. Coming back from the commercial, we're in the office with Triple H and Stephanie. And the two of them are talking. And then up comes Batista. Triple H and Stephanie were talking about, I gotta beat Bryan, I gotta, stop this already. And Batista comes up bitching, saying, I should get a match, I did everything you wanted me to. I came back, I won the Royal Rumble, and I was supposed to get a one-on-one match with Randy. Randy comes up too, of course, and he says, you know what, I've got a rematch clause in my contract, so when am I going to get my rematch? I want my rematch tonight. And of course, no, that ain't going to happen. Stephanie, instead, says, Batista and Orton, you guys are going to get a shot at the tag team titles against the Usos. And Orton Batista, of course, shit all over that. Like, yeah, what is that? Like some consolation prize? That's like, we don't even give a fuck about the tag titles. So they basically bury the tag division. Whatever. That's basically the end of that segment. We get the Wyatt cut. And Bray again, New Orleans, we're here, and they come out. And they get in the match, or they get in the ring, and they take that point right there when Bray and Harper and Rowan get in the ring to say, we're going to have a 6-man tag match with the Wyatts versus Cena, Sheamus, and Big E, and that's next. And they cut to another commercial. And when they come back, Sheamus is coming out, Big E is already out, and then Cena comes out. So, guess who's gonna lose? Anyways, we get the match. And it turns out to be a decent match. The crowd chanting, let's go Wyatts. Jesus Christ. And the crowd firmly behind the Wyatts. Like, they would do like dueling spots where Harper would punch Cena, and then Cena would punch back, and they'd cheer for Harper and they'd boo for Cena, and they'd do so many different spots just like that. Ugh. There wasn't a whole lot of notable spots from the match. It was mostly noteworthy chants. But Cena goes for the attitude adjustment on Harper, but Harper slips down the back and gets Cena like a belly-to-back suplex, and then brings him forward and face plants him. And shortly after that, there's another commercial. Coming back, Harper's still in the ring, and they're chanting, let's go Harper. Ugh. Big E gets tagged in, and he ends up going for the big ending on Bray. Yeah, Bray was legal. So Big E goes for the big ending on Bray, but Harper comes in, and let's see, I think Bray slipped down the back, and I think Harper just booted Big E in the face or something, I don't know. After that, Bray does his back bend in the corner, and he even kind of crab walks out of it. And then the crowd started chanting. It sounded like they said, Bray's gonna kill you. I don't know if it was Bray's gonna kill you or Bray's gonna get you. They might have even been chanting, Bray's gonna kiss you. Pfft. Who cares? Bray grabs Big E, hits the Sister Abigail on him, and gets the win. So, like I said, Big E, the one who gets the jobber entrance, he takes the fall. Of course, they're not going to have Cena take the fall, no. And they're not going to have Sheamus take the fall either. And as Bray and Harper and Rowan are doing their stupid little pose, we do the cutaway gag again. And then we get some hype for the Bryan versus Triple H main event for the title, and they cut to a commercial break. And I believe it was coming back from this commercial break that they had a video package to hype up one of 2 or 3, no, I think it was just 2 two NXT debuts that are going to be happening soon. This first video, it starts off by saying, you know, people see the word impossible and they think it's a bad thing. but you're not looking at it right. And I can already tell just by the tone of this horse shit and the voice who's saying this, I can already tell who this is. It's Bo Dallas. Remember that shit skid who eliminated Wade Barrett from the Royal Rumble? Yeah, neither does anybody else. He has this awful gimmick on NXT. He's a heel, but he's like always super positive. But yeah, the video continues to say, people are looking at the word impossible the wrong way. And the visual aid is you can see the word, and then it gets broken up, and an apostrophe added, and it says, I'm possible. Like the cheesiest, goofiest shit. Anyways, yeah, so Bo Dallas is coming up soon. God, I hope not. Coming back to the arena, Fandango comes out with Summer. And by the way, while he's coming out, the crowd is fandangoing to his music. They're starting that back up again. Don't stop, people. Honestly, I don't really like the Fandango gimmick, but Johnny's a good wrestler. At least, you could change his gimmick, have Summer go off on her own in the Divas division, even though I don't think she's all that good. Just get her the hell away from Johnny. God damn. But yeah. So, of course, Justin Roberts, the ring announcer, says this is going to be a mixed tag match. So, who do you think is going to be their opponents? Santino's music hits, and him and Emma, of course, come out. And they get basically no reaction. None. Crowd don't give a fuck about these two. And the crowd was hot for just about everything all night. These two get nothing. And guess what? The match blew. Fucking Fandango and Santino started. And then I think Johnny tagged in Summer. And so Emma had to come in. Santino hits the Cobra on Johnny, which sends him out to the outside, and Santino goes out after him. And Emma locks in the Emma lock on Summer, and she taps out to it. That was basically the whole fucking match. It was short, it was shit, and the crowd were dead. They didn't care about Santino and Emma. Moving on. More hype for the Streak Conquered segment. That's going to be next, and they cut to another commercial. Coming back, of course, Brock's music hits, and he comes out with Heyman. And I happened to notice during his entrance that his pyro on the stage was fucking late. He did his little skipping thing, and then his pose whatever thing, and the pyro didn't go off, and Brock starts walking down the ramp, and then all of a sudden the pyro goes off. So that was late. Anyways, they get in the ring, and of course, Heyman talks, because Brock can't talk for shit. Heyman talks, and there's a very loud bullshit chant from the crowd. You're not fucking kidding. Heyman says he's going to start shooting from the hip. And he mentions that like 5 seconds after Undertaker walked through the curtain last night at Mania, he collapsed, and they had to take him to the hospital. Which, it's true that Taker had to go to the hospital. Apparently he suffered a concussion, and almost broke his neck. Whatever the fuck. Heyman also knocks Hogan's fuck up from last night of calling it the Silver Dome. He says, yeah, we're in the Superdome, not in the Silver Dome, Hogan. And Heyman keeps talking, saying that, all the people in the crowd are wannabes, all these other people are wannabes, and that there's only one Brock Lesnar. All this other shit. He is the one guy who could beat The Undertaker. Whatever. boring fucking promo, and I think even the crowd was bored of this shit. But Heyman and Brock leave. Nothing really happens. Nobody comes out to say anything. Whatever. We get hyped for the tag team title match. And then they cut to another commercial break. And when they were coming back from this commercial break is when we get our second debut video. Or hyping up of a debut. Adam Rose. I don't know if I've mentioned this gimmick before, but I'm pretty sure I've mentioned Leo Kruger. It's the same guy. They changed his gimmick. He's like this flamboyant rock star type who has his own party bus, the Exotic Express. Yes, I'm not kidding. That's what they call it. Ugh. This gimmick looks like shit, and I really wish they would have left him as Leo Kruger. But yeah, there's a video for him. He's coming soon too. Cutting back in, Batista's music hits, and he comes out to fucking no reaction. He doesn't even get any boos, really. He gets his pyro, though, which is a big step up from last night. And then Orton's music hits, and he comes out to no reaction as well. And then the Usos come out. And we start the match, and it's basically not really even much of a match. There's a very loud CM Punk chant, and then I think they started chanting for Y2J. Then they started chanting for Punk again. And then they started chanting for JBL. And the whole time this was going on, Orton and Batista had grabbed the Usos and taken them out of the ring over by the commentary table. And the ref counts both teams out. So we have a double count out. The match is obviously called off. What ends up happening is, I think Randy takes the top part off of one of the ring steps, and Batista powerbombs one of the Usos on it. Or Batista bombs him, whatever the fuck. So that's basically Batista and Orton saying, fuck you, we don't want your tag titles. We're just gonna injure the fucking champions for no reason. Whatever. That was pretty much it for that. We get hype for one of the next segments, which is going to be Hulk Hogan presenting the Andre Trophy to Cesaro. And then we cut to a commercial. Coming back from the commercial, Justin Roberts says, "Please welcome back to Raw, Rob Van Dam." And yeah, his stoner ass comes out. And I happen to notice that Damian Sandow's already in the ring. So guess what's about to happen? Yeah, we get another jobber squash match. RVD, yeah, we have the match, Sandow and RVD. It's a shit match. It really is. RVD runs through his usual moves. He did the Rolling Thunder. He put Damian on the barricade and did the spinning leg drop thing from the apron. All the shit. And hit the 5-star and won. It was a boring, crappy match. And I really don't see the appeal to RVD anymore. He is so far past his prime and so old. Why don't you use this to put over some new stars? Stupid fucking idiots. Anyways, we get more hype for Bryan and Triple H, and then we cut to another commercial break. Coming back, Ray's music hits. And he comes out to no reaction. And then I'm thinking, okay, who's Ray about to beat? Or no. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyways, we're waiting on Ray's opponent, and then Barrett's music hits. Yeah, Bad News Barrett comes out. And we get a match. And I'm like, oh goody, Barrett's back. Now I get to suffer through his shit again. He gets in the ring with Ray, and the ref calls for the bell. And Barrett grabs a microphone and he says, "I'm afraid I've got some bad news." And I was hoping that Ray would just roll Barrett up and get a quick win. But no, instead, Ray just jumps him and starts beating him up. Whatever the fuck. Again, not a whole lot of spots in this match. It was a pretty crap match. Barrett was able to come back by hitting the Boss Man Slam or the Winds of Change, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Ray hit the 619 though, and went up to drop the dime or whatever he calls it. But before he can do it, Barrett nails him and crotches him on the post. And Barrett pulls down his elbow pad, exposing the red elbow pad, which at this point I'm starting to think is like loaded. Like, you know, like the Chris Hero gimmick. You know, the same guy he ripped off. But yeah, he pulls down the elbow, and he cracks Ray with it while Ray's, you know, hanging crotched in the corner. He nails him. Ray falls onto the mat. Wade pulls him out, covers him, and gets the win. So a crappy match to bring Barrett back into in-ring action. And what really pissed me off is the crowd were so behind Barrett. Why? He is not that good. Whatever. After that, we get another video for Alexander Rusev. And they say that he's finally going to debut next. And we cut to a commercial. And coming back from this commercial, we get another video package for Adam Rose. This time showing off the inside of the Exotic Express. Again, this gimmick sucks. Coming back into the arena, Justin Roberts introduces Lana, who looks pretty fucking hot. She speaks in Russian or Bulgarian, whatever language it is, and the crowd's chanting, "What at her? What? What?" Because you can't fucking understand what she's saying because she's not speaking English. Rusev comes out to no reaction. And they show that Zack Ryder is in the ring. So, guess what happens? Another squash match! Guess who wins? Rusev, that roided up ugly piece of shit. He beats the shit out of Ryder. Only good thing about this match is watching Ryder get his ass kicked. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but Ryder has started posting a new series on YouTube since they took over and basically ended his Z True Long Island story or whatever the fuck. He started a new series called Ryder's Last Resort or something like that. And it even says Last Resort on his trunks that he's wearing. I'm thinking, motherfucker, if you want to impress, you might want to just try and actually do something with Rusev. Oh, well, that's probably not going to happen. Rusev would probably beat the piss out of him for real. But anyways, Rusev beats the shit out of Ryder. And then he locks him in the camel clutch. Which, apparently, according to Michael Cole, Rusev calls it, although I don't know how the hell he would know what he calls it considering he only speaks Bulgarian or Russian or whatever the fuck it is. But apparently Rusev calls it the accolade. But I'm like, no, motherfucker, it's the camel clutch. I break his back, I put him in the camel clutch, I fuck his ass and I make him humble. Iron Sheik much? Fuck off! But of course, Rusev wins with the camel clutch. Crowd's dead, they don't give a fuck. Please send this asshole packing. He's not entertaining at all. He has the fucking camel clutch locked in on Ryder, and the camera's looking right at his face. Rusev just has this really bored look on his face, like he don't even give a fuck. The guy has no charisma, he's boring as fuck, he's your typical roidy foreigner, and like, the stupid crowd started chanting USA during the match. And I'm like, no, don't do that. That's what they want. This is your same typical evil foreigner gimmick. And it's awful. The only good part about it is Lana. Keep her, get rid of Rusev, and let's move on. Jesus Christ. Moving on. They showed a recap video for the Hall of Fame ceremony from Saturday night, which they're going to replay after the show tonight, which is probably on right now, but I'm not watching it because I don't give a fuck. But at the end of the video, they say that the Ultimate Warrior is going to make his return to Raw. And that's going to be next. And they cut to a commercial. And of course, coming back from the commercial, Warrior's music hits and he comes out. And he starts talking. And there's a Warrior, Warrior chant. You know, great. He says that he's having a hard time coming up with what to say. He's been thinking about it for, a few hours or whatever before the show, and he doesn't know what to say. And so he's wearing this coat. Warrior kind of famous for these cool coats that he would always wear. He's wearing another one tonight, and it looked pretty cool. He pulls the Warrior face paint mask out of one of his pockets, and he puts it on. Apparently he couldn't be bothered to put on the face paint, but I guess, whatever. So he puts on the mask, and, the Ultimate Warrior comes out, and he starts cutting this promo. He's talking, the Warrior became a legend because of the people, and, he looks in the back in the locker room, and he sees future legends who have the spirit of the Warrior in them, and all this stuff. It's good speech. I liked it. Of course, I always liked Warrior's promos. I don't care what anybody else said. People say they can't understand them. Listen, morons. Jeez, is it that hard? I listened. I heard every word he said. But anyways, he gets done with his speech and he leaves. We get more hype for Bryan and Triple H, the main event. And then we cut backstage to a random hallway where there's AJ and Tamina, and it looks like they're coming out for something. And apparently that's next, and we cut to another commercial. Coming back, of course, AJ's music hits and she comes out with Tamina. And AJ talks a bit, talking about how, she overcame the odds against all the other divas last night and, all this other shit. There was another big CM Punk chant. And I think, I'm trying to remember exactly what they said. AJ says basically, there is no more challengers for her. And, the whole Divas division is beneath her and everything. And I think she basically ended by saying, there's not a diva back there who can beat me. And then there's this screeching noise, which is the beginning of Paige's music. She got some new music here recently for the NXT Arrival pay-per-view, I believe is where they debuted the new music. But that's her music. Yeah, Paige is finally debuting. She comes out. The crowd went nuts for her. It was awesome. And before she even starts talking, there's a Paige, Paige, Paige chant. And Paige says she wants to congratulate AJ on her victory last night. And AJ's like, okay, thanks. Now get out of my ring, And so I think Paige had to say, yeah, I just wanted to congratulate you. AJ's being very rude, and Paige is trying to be nice. I just wanted to congratulate you, I'm just trying to be nice. And AJ's like, whatever. Since you're here and you're all fancied up, because Paige was wearing her ring gear, AJ says, how about we have a match? And Paige is like, I'd like to, but I'm not ready, And so, and AJ's like, oh, you're not ready? And she slaps Paige in the face. And I think she slapped her a couple more times. And then AJ's like, "Are you ready now? Are you ready now?" And she says, "It's a nice little Christmas present or whatever the fuck. I'll put my title on the line, the Divas title. Are you ready now?" And she says, "This is my house." She calls for a referee. And it's looking like they're going to start a match. And the crowd's like, "This is awesome." Yeah. We get a match. For the Divas title, no less. At the beginning of the match, there's a "Let's Go Paige" chant, of course. And AJ basically just beats Paige up. She hit a couple of moves on her. Skipped around her while she was on her back or whatever. And then AJ goes to lock in the Black Widow. But she can't quite lock it in. Paige is fighting it off. And finally what happens is Paige swings AJ back around. AJ lands on her feet, but Paige goes back and hits the Paige Turner on her, which of course is Paige's finishing move. Didn't really look all that good. But Paige covers AJ. 1, 2, 3. Paige wins and is the new Divas champion. Like that. And they cut to a commercial. Well, Paige leaves, she's crying, she's got the belt, and she walks up the ramp, you know, she's still like... The match was awful. You know, it was way too short, and the way she hit the Paige Turner made it look like it was a complete botch. And I just think this is really fucking stupid the way they did this by, you know, having Paige debut, that's fine. Okay? Been wanting it for a while. Paige is good, but you could have just had her come out, interrupt AJ's promo, and have them build up to a match, say at the next pay-per-view. That would have been fine. But to have her come out and win the Divas title just like that in a really short, really crappy match where Paige hit exactly one move. Paige beats AJ in one move, which not only makes AJ look kind of bad, it buries the rest of the Divas division. The rest of the Divas division sucks anyways, but still, you're burying the rest of the Divas division because none of them could beat AJ last night. Even in a free-for-all match where whoever got the first pin or submission would be the winner. So, AJ wins last night only to get beaten, taken out in one move by Paige. And Tamina didn't help, didn't do shit, and Tamina was at ringside, of course. So yeah, like I said, I'm glad Paige debuted, but you could have done this in such a better way. Build up to the match, you know, have a feud build, and then have Paige take the Divas title from AJ at like a pay-per-view. I know they don't really care about the Divas title, but shit! This is basic storytelling, folks. This is Booking 101, and they fucked up. Anyways, coming back from the commercial break, we get another video package for Bo Dallas. I don't really remember anything interesting about this one, so we'll just move on. And then, of course, we get a recap of what just happened with Paige winning the Divas title. And they cut into the arena, and they show that the big Andre trophy is in the ring. And of course, Hulk Hogan comes out, and he talks, and there's a big chant for Cesaro. And Hogan calls for Cesaro to come out, and he does. For some strange reason, Cesaro, even though basically the Real Americans are broken up after last night, Cesaro comes out to the Real Americans music with Zeb Coulter. And Cesaro was also wearing this really cool looking jacket. He looked fly and everything. It was nice. Cesaro and Zeb get in the ring, and I think Cesaro held up the trophy and whatever the fuck. And so Cesaro has a microphone, and he goes to start talking, but Zeb takes it away from him, and he starts talking. And who gives a fuck what he says? Cesaro takes the microphone back and says, all that stuff you're talking about, Zeb, is great, but I'm not really a Zeb also said something about Cesaro being a Zeb Coulter guy. Don't know why. Apparently just to segue into it. But like I said, Cesaro cuts him off and says, I'm not a Zeb Coulter guy. I'm a Paul Heyman guy. And Heyman comes out from the stage, and he comes out and gets in the ring. And he starts talking about Cesaro as the king of swing. And, But Heyman finishes cutting his little promo, and he says, I'm going to go over to JBL and those other two pieces of crap who call themselves commentators, which I think is something he said during the promo earlier with Brock. And, but Heyman goes over to instruct the commentators on how to call Cesaro now. And while that's happening, Jack Swagger comes out of nowhere and clobbers Cesaro. And then he picks up the Andre trophy and smashes it and throws it out of the ring and smashes it even more. Cesaro comes back from out of nowhere and starts fighting Swagger. And there's another Cesaro chant, and then we cut to commercial. And apparently during the commercial, our general manager, Brad Maddox, he made a match between Cesaro and Swagger, which is going on as we come back from the commercial. And we got a decent match. First big spot was Cesaro was up top, and Swagger came running, jumped up, grabbed him, and basically did a top rope belly-to-belly like throw to throw Cesaro off. There was another big chant for Cesaro, and Swagger got Cesaro down in the corner, and he goes for the Swagger Bomb. I don't know if I've mentioned the Swagger Bomb before, but he gets him down in the corner, and he comes running and jumps over the guy and then springs up in the corner turnbuckle and goes for like the springing splash thing. Yeah. He goes for it, but Cesaro gets his feet up to block it. And of course that stuns him. A little bit later on, Cesaro does the deadlift superplex spot again. Swagger was on the apron. Cesaro was up on the second rope, and he grabs Swagger, lifts him up from the apron all the way, superplex into the ring. Looked fucking great. And then what happens is Cesaro gets Swagger in the corner, and he comes charging at him, big diving corner European uppercut. He nails him. And he throws Swagger across into the other corner, and he comes running. He's going back and forth with these corner European uppercuts. He just fucking destroys Swagger with these things. And afterwards, Swagger goes down and rolls out of the ring. And him and Zeb start backing up the ramp. They don't want no more. And the ref's counting, of course. And the crowd starts chanting, pussy, pussy, pussy. They're fucking calling this bitch a pussy. That's hilarious. Swagger gets counted out, of course. So Cesaro wins by countout. And for some idiotic reason, Cesaro has won, and the Real Americans music plays. I don't know why Cesaro would keep that music. He shouldn't. But the crowd starts humming along with the music like they do with Fandango, only they're doing whatever. Anyways, they use this opportunity to tell us that tomorrow night on Main Event, we're going to get another match between the Shield and the Wyatts. We get more hype for Bryan and Triple H, which is going to be next, although it's not actually. And we cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break, they show a video package, basically, about, like, major news and sports news outlets talking about Undertaker's streak being broken by Brock. all these different headlines and shit. Whatever. After that, we get a recap of the opening segment from the show. Bryan talking, and then Triple H coming out and saying, you're going to defend the title tonight against me, whatever the fuck. We cut back into the office where Stephanie is talking to the Shield and Kane. And she's saying, you're going to put this behind you, we're all going to work together, whatever the fuck. And, the Shield guys talk. They're basically just laughing at Kane. Like, I think it was Ambrose who's like, "Where's the Outlaws, man? Where are they at?" "Oh yeah, we sent them packing. I don't think we're ever gonna see them again." So yeah, I don't think we're gonna see the Outlaws again. I hope, because they're so old. But anyways, Kane, pissed off about, what the Shield's saying about him, he flips out and starts yelling like, the whole thing with me and the Outlaws beating your asses was Triple H's idea and all this shit. And the whole time he's yelling at him, Stephanie's yelling at him, Kane, she's trying to get him to stop because she knows what he's about to say, and she's like, no, don't expose us, you're gonna fuck everything up. But yeah, Kane blurts it out, it was Triple H's idea, and he also said that Triple H sees the Shield as faceless, worthless, yes men or whatever the fuck. And after Kane says that, you can see it on the faces of the three Shield guys. They're like, "Aw, you done fucked up now, bro." You can, like, Rollins had a look on his face like, I'm gonna kill somebody. But of course, Stephanie tries to calm him down, and she starts looking at the Shield like, Daniel Bryan winning the title is an injustice, and you guys are all about injustice. She's trying to flip this. No. I can already see it coming a mile away what's about to happen. But she's like, yeah, what Triple H wants, Triple H is going to get. She gets them to, you guys are going to make sure that nothing happens with the match with Bryan and Triple H. And she's like, do I make myself clear? And Roman is like, crystal. Yeah. So that segment's over. They also announced that Cesaro is going to take on The Big Show on SmackDown. Ugh. Goddamn. We get more hype for Bryan and Triple H, which actually will be next this time. And they cut to another commercial break. Coming back, Bryan's music hits. And he comes out, and I'm thinking, why is the champion coming out first? Oh yeah, to set up what's about to happen. Bryan's in the ring, and he gives the belts over to the referee, who's standing there about to referee the match. And then all of a sudden, the camera cuts up to the stage, and out come Orton and Batista. No music, no actual entrance, they just come walking out, like Stark, They come out, and I'm thinking, okay, they're maybe going to sit on commentary. No. Batista gets on one side of the ring and Randy gets on the other, and they start faking like they're gonna get in. Sure enough, they get in the ring and they start beating the shit out of Bryan. Randy hits an RKO and Batista hits a Batista bomb. And then Kane comes out. Stage blows up with his pyro and he comes out. And the commentators are like, okay, Kane's gonna bring the order back, right? And I'm thinking, no, you dumb fuck. I can see this coming from a mile away, too. Kane comes out and he gets in the ring and he tells Randy and Batista to back off. He's not on the mic or anything, but you can just tell he's saying, back off, back off. And then, of course, Kane slaps his hand around Bryan's neck. He's still on the mat from the Batista bomb. He picks him up onto his feet, and then lifts him up and choke slams the fuck out of him. And it was at this point that I believe the crowd started chanting 3MB. Yeah. And of course, now that Bryan's taken 3 finishers, time to play the game hits. And out comes Triple H in his ring gear, accompanied by Stephanie. And he gets in the ring, and Kyoto, the referee, Triple H looks at him, he's like, start the match, ring the bell. And the ref's like, no, man, I can't. I gotta wait for Bryan to be able to get up. And Triple H is like, again, he's not on the mic, but the camera's close enough that you can hear him talking. And Triple H is like, you like working here? Do you like your job? Start the match. And so the ref is like, start the match, I guess. And the bell rings. And before anything even happens, Shield music hits. And the three of them come out. And I have to correct myself, something I said in the WrestleMania vid last night. The masks they were wearing, they're actually not the neoprene face masks I was talking about. But I have seen these masks before. They're used in, like, airsoft skirmishes, or at least you can use them. It's not necessarily exclusive to that. And it also wasn't a dog face on the mask. It's like it actually looks more like a wolf kind of skull. You can see the fangs and the bone and stuff. But they're not neoprene face masks. I think they're made out of like a kind of a metal mesh but it's still kind of like the half face mask. They still look awesome though. But yeah. But anyways, the Shield comes out, the three of them together, and they're standing on the side of the ring by the commentary table. And the crowd starts chanting, "Hounds of Justice." It's great. Anyways, the three of them get up on the apron. And then the crowd starts chanting, "This is awesome." Nothing's really happened yet. Anyways, on the other side of the ring, Kane, Batista, and Orton get on the apron over there, too. And then the Shield guys get in the ring. And then Kane, Batista, and Orton do, too, of course. And this whole time, Triple H is like, no, this isn't going to happen, no, we're not going to do this. And he's mainly looking at Kane and Batista and Orton. He's like, no, we're not going to do this. We're going to work this out, whatever the fuck. Triple H turns back around towards the Shield. Roman comes charging and runs through Triple H with a fucking spear. The crowd blows up, of course, because yes! And of course, big brawl breaks out between Kane and Orton and Batista and the Shield guys. Ambrose and Rollins do suicide dives out of the ring on top of Batista and Orton. And then Kane goes to give the choke slam to Reigns, but Reigns breaks out of it, hits the ropes, and spears the fuck out of Kane. And so Kane goes out of the ring. And then all of a sudden, the three Shield guys are back in the ring, and they're surrounding Triple H, who's still laid out from the spear. And Triple H, he kind of gets up a little bit. He's sitting, but he's not standing up. And he's like, whoa, we can work this out. He's begging off, of course. And it's looking like, okay, they're going to pick him up and hit the fall of justice. But no, Triple H gets up, and all of a sudden, there's Bryan, who's been laid out basically this whole time. There's Bryan in the corner. He comes charging, super running knee, lays Triple H the fuck out. And he gets pulled out of the ring by Kane and Batista and Orton. And the Shield celebrates with Bryan. Yes. The match obviously has been called off because there's too much interference at this point. Not only that, but I think Bryan would have been disqualified for Reigns spearing Triple H. Oh well, you keep the title because of the DQ, so it doesn't matter. The match didn't really start. The bell rung, but yeah, let's just call it a no contest. So yeah, that's the way the show ends. Bryan up on the turnbuckle, yes, and the Shield standing there, and Triple H and Stephanie and Kane and Orton and Batista all backing up the ramp, and this is war, this isn't over, whatever the fuck. So it looks like what we're going to get here is a reunited Evolution, Batista, Orton, and Triple H, versus the Shield, who are protecting Bryan as champion. Because apparently the Shield has finally seen that the true injustice has been Triple H and the Authority, whatever, holding down Bryan. So, sounds like that's the big storyline. I'm all for it, because as I said, I'm glad the Shield are staying together and staying as faces for a while. This should be good. So, yeah. WrestleMania wasn't that great last night, but I don't know. I don't think Raw was really all that good tonight either. The ending was great, having the Shield turn on Kane, or having them turn on Triple H, the Authority, Kane, Batista, Orton, all that shit. That's great. The Shield are now cemented as faces. That's a certainty. Thank God, because honestly, I think they should be like that for a while. Have them be faces. Have them help out Daniel Bryan. Have them, be faces for a while. Don't have them break up just yet, and don't have them turn on each other. But yeah, that's the end of the show. We will go ahead and go over the matches like we always do. The first match was the Wyatts defeating Big E, Sheamus, and Cena in a decent match. And then we got Santino and Emma beating Fandango and Summer in a crappy, short match with no crowd heat, and the crowd was dead afterwards. We were supposed to get Batista and Orton versus the Usos for the tag titles, but went to a double countout, and Batista and Orton just beat the shit out of the Usos. RVD, in his return to Raw, jobs out Damian Sandow. Fuck off. Didn't need your stoner ass back. And Wade Barrett, or Bad News Barrett, in his in-ring return, beats Ray in a crap match. Alexander Rusev finally makes his Raw debut, because he's been doing dark matches for a while. He makes his Raw debut squashing Zack Ryder in a shit match, breaking his back and making him humble. Fucking crappy shit. Paige, in her WWE debut, defeats AJ to become the new Divas champion, also in a crap match. I'm sorry, but really? You could have at least had the match go a little bit longer than that. Like, it should have been back and forth, and then have AJ try to lock in the Black Widow, and have Paige fight it off and counter it. It looked like the counter into the Paige Turner would have been better if she'd have done it more fluidly. It looked like it would have been good, but it just kind of, not really. Again, you could have built up towards a fucking pay-per-view match, and I'm sure they will. AJ will get her rematch at the pay-per-view, probably. But still, like, what the fuck? And then we got Cesaro defeating Swagger by countout in an impromptu match after Swagger decided to smash the Andre trophy. And it really, this whole segment confused the fuck out of me. Cesaro turns face, kinda, by turning on Swagger and Zeb, the Real Americans shit. And then he has this big face moment, winning the Battle Royal and winning the trophy and everything, and even shook hands with Big Show. And then comes out tonight, still with Zeb for some reason, and turns on Zeb by joining with Paul Heyman, who's the biggest heel manager in the company, who represents the most hated man in the company, Brock, who just beat The Undertaker's undefeated streak. So, is Cesaro still a heel? What the fuck? Don't get that at all. I don't really care much, but I just want to see Cesaro get built up. The guy, they really need to, build him up. And then after that almost basically was the last match, unless you count Bryan and Triple H. But like I said, that one was pretty much a no contest. But we had this great ending segment. The Shield has turned totally face now. There's no doubt about it. They are faces now. They have turned on Triple H and the Authority and Kane and Orton and Batista. And it looks like we're going to get the new evolution against the Shield and Daniel Bryan. Thank you. Jesus. So yeah, I'm kind of torn on this episode of Raw. The ending was great, but most of the rest of the shit wasn't really that good. It was nice to have Paige debut. It was nice to watch Zack Ryder get his ass kicked. But I hate Alexander Rusev, so just kick me in the nuts with Sandow getting beaten again. Fucking hell. Yeah, so that was Raw. Let's just say it was okay. I'll tell you what, it was a better show than WrestleMania was last night. I don't know if this is becoming the trend. WrestleMania sucks, and then the show afterwards is better. I don't know. Whatever. But that was Raw from Monday, April 7th, 2014 in New Orleans, Louisiana. Like I said, I don't think it was the same arena as the Superdome last night, but that was Raw. Thank you for watching, and join us next time when we go over the SmackDown spoilers. So we will see you next time for that.